I don't know if you've seen an episode before, but we uh we basically just go over your start in comedy, your time as an open micer, um, any crazy or funny open mic stories you might have, and we start there and we sort of go into your journey. Like we're gonna hit your albums and go into like your success as a comic from your time as an open micer.
That sounds awesome, especially the word success. I never hear that. That's nice.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
right?
now you've won me.
Heck yeah, dude. Oh, also, we have the worst theme song in podcasting history. So if you want to give us your take on it, we would love it.
Oh, I'm so fucking stoked. Okay.
You won't be after you hear it. So
yeah, dude, it's so bad. It could not be worse.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Dude, think about the worst podcast theme song you've ever heard and then double it. Like I haven't listened to a podcast where the theme song's any worse.
Oh shit. That's daunting.
All right. Well,
yeah, dude, we had Steve Byrne on and we thought for a split second he was gonna leave the Zoom as soon as we played our song.
Yeah, we have a running bet to see which guest is gonna log off as soon as they hear the theme song.
They're like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
And it was like, I thought this was like a prestigious podcast.
All right, well,
we're going to be talking about dicks and butts the whole time.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Just drop that ass, bitch, it's open micers in the house. Pop that pussy with that open micers logo in your mouth. Jason with his bald ass head, Jacob looking in bed. It's open micers, bitch, heard what I said. Drop that ass, open micers in the house. Drop that ass, pop that pussy, open micers in the house. Open micers in the house, open micers is a mouse. Drop that ass, pop that pussy, open micers in the house. The mic is now open.
That's right. The mic is now open. My name is Jason Robbins.
I'm Jacob Craig. I'm the inbred portion of our theme song. Looking double inbred now since my haircut, dude. This is our first regular episode since I got whatever this is. I look like I smoke both meth and meats now. So that's
well. If you want people to see it, you need to fix your camera a little bit there, Jacob. Like put it up a little bit. There you go.
Is that good? Can you see that?
Now you're looking like Curly. There you go.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what's even happening with me. I'm down bad, brother. I'm down bad. But we're going to be up good this episode because we have another fantastic guest coming on the podcast. You know this guy from his 4 albums from Stand Up Records. You know him from all across the festival scene. You know him for opening for some of the best comics in the entire world, like Patton Oswalt, Brian Posehn, Janine Garofalo. Straight comedy legends this guy has worked with, and he's on his way to becoming one himself. It's the one and only Derek Sheen. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, thank you. That was an awesome thank you. That's an awesome introduction. And don't shit on that theme song. Don't sleep on that shit. It that is the quintessential open mic theme song.
Right.
Like if you showed up to an open mic that only did music and they were like, "What do you guys think of this theme song?" They'd be like, "Well, it's an open mic. Like that is the most open mic I've ever heard."
I feel like if you're at a comedy open mic and like the comic that pulls up with a guitar case, you're like, "Oh shit, dude, for real." I feel like that's what he would play after he opens up his guitar case.
Yeah. He's not playing anything. He's playing Pop That Pussy open mic.
Yeah, dude. He's
Drop that ass.
He's not covering Candle in a Wind.
He's not doing Karma Police by Radiohead. He's fucking Pop That Pussy, drop that ass.
Yeah. So you don't think anybody will immediately turn the pod if they're new to this podcast and they hear that theme song? They're just like, "Nope, I'm out." Or are they going to stay?
Oh, I mean, I absolutely loved it. But also because I imagine that it is just like it could be person repellent, but in the right way. Like if they repelled the theme song, I'd say, "Hey, just don't hate it yet until you drive it." You know?
Right.
Well, I feel like if we're turning people away at the theme song, then like the podcast isn't gonna be much better. like if that offends you, maybe you should stop now.
You should turn this off now.
You should quit while you're ahead. But Derek, I'm very excited to have you on, man. Very
Thank
excited
you.
to talk about your open mic journey. I want to talk first about, I know you were a headliner at this year's Altercation Fest. What was that like? Who were some cool people you met?
Oh, man.
Just describe the whole experience for me.
I love that fest. That happens every year's November, I think now, the beginning of November. Austin, Texas. It all happens in one location at Kick Butt Coffee. So it's kind of a DIY coffee bar punk venue that JT Habersat loves, and it's bananas. I mean, everybody's in this place the whole weekend. All the shows are there. The audience is there. It's always it's a little exhausting because you're never leaving the venue. Yeah. And after a day of it, you don't feel like you're real anymore because you're going to go right back into that thing. And it kind of feels like a recycling nightmare that like it's the same people. And we're like, we're still in this fucking building. Did we all die in a bus crash? And so what I love about it too is just the unpredictability. Everybody that comes to that fest kind of brings their A game. I mean, Mo, I don't know if you're familiar with Mo Alexander, but you should be. I mean, Mo's the godfather. And that was, every festival, if I get to go see that guy anytime, I will push my mom's urn into traffic to go see him. And there's no need. Why am I pushing my mom's? She's already in a fucking urn. Why is she in my way? Why did I go there? Why did I put my mom's urn in the way of me getting to see Mo? And he'd be like, why don't you put the urn on a shelf, man? And then come see me. But regardless, worth it. And this year was no exception. I mean, Eddie Pepitone, always, amazing. Kristen Lytle did her album there. Brandy Posey. Who else did I saw a ton of people. Sam Miller. It's bananas. And it's just, the cool thing about most festivals, you'll run into people, going back and forth to shows or whatever, but you'll never really see everybody at the fest. No, like I just got back from Portland. I did the festival there this weekend, and there were friends of mine, I didn't see them because they were on different shows or across town. And I was there for 3 days, and there were the people I didn't see. The thing I like about Altercation is everyone's in that venue. Everyone. Yeah. Every comic, the whole weekend, everyone's there watching the show, laughing. So you do get to see everybody if you stick around. And there's no chance you're going to miss anybody. And it's just kind of a fucking bacchanalia. Like, everybody's drinking and getting high, even though it's super illegal in Texas. And I think everybody just typically in that room, it gets so hot in terms of like the energy and the audience that it's just every show's a banger. I had an amazing time. I always do. I had a great set. I was very excited to get to stretch out a little bit and do an hour. And then, I mean, if you haven't, submit, it's worth it, or go. If you're not at that place yet where you're not ready to submit, just go buy a ticket and go to Austin, stay for 3 days, get an Airbnb with some friends. It's worth it.
I was going to ask you about, you mentioned how hot the crowd was. What is that room like when you're at that festival? Everybody's there to see comedy, and you pretty much know. Is it kind of like you're not going to bomb? Is it almost impossible to bomb? You just know you're going to.
There's a lot of stress. Everybody I talk to, because if it's going well, if you're a comic in that lineup and everything is just at 10, you're always going to feel like, what if I'm the 8? Like, what if I bring all this goodwill down? Holy fuck, I don't want to be the one to fuck it up. So most everybody is usually kind of nervous and amped when they go up there. Also because the stage is a little taller and you're the center focus. And It's I mean, I always get a little more nervous on there, but when you're crushing in that room, or if you're just doing well, it definitely feels like you're crushing.
Yeah.
Everybody's engaged. It's just you and the audience. There's no other sound. And when you get a laugh, a real big one, you can feel it. It's just a solid place to do stand up. And fuck, I mean, just everything I saw this year, being sober is very different when you're in Austin. So now I don't miss anything. Yeah, Jesus. I mean, there's two things to do in Austin, and that's like eat beef ribs and then get drunk and throw up beef ribs. And I don't drink, so
that's double beef ribs.
Double beef ribs.
I actually played bass for double beef ribs in high school.
They opened for Crowned Fish. It's the premier Mudvayne tribute band that only does fish style covers of Mudvayne songs. I really had to dig deep for that.
I don't think there's anything that could make Fish better. the band Fish.
But again, what if the songs were played by the guys from Mudvayne? It might go a little something like this.
Also, that sounds like a real Mo Alexander comedy city to just be mowing down some fucking beef ribs.
Oh my God.
Drinking tequila and then
I gorged myself on. There's a place called Jew Boy Burgers.
I've heard of it. I've heard it's the best.
So fucking ridiculous, man. I mean, my buddy James and I pretty much I made a wall of fat basically at that place. The stuffed tachos and, double burger with a pork belly on top. Like,
Jesus.
I don't know why I'm still here.
I mean, how do people live in Texas and not just have blocked colons all the time?
I mean, if you go to Texas, you'd see unless you guys are there, you would know that it's a lot of blocked colons. The state's 90% blocked colons. I mean,
yeah,
that's how they vote. That's how they live. Just blocked colons. Just constipated.
I think there's a border town called Blocked Colon somewhere down there.
Well, there's Constipation, Texas. I think there's got to be a Constipation, Texas. If not, then we should all put our money together in a Kickstarter and start one.
Yeah, right. I spent in 2005. I was on tour with a band, and we spent a month just touring Texas and never hit the same place twice in a month. Like, nobody really knows how big of a place Texas is.
Could be 3 states.
Easily.
There's no reason to have one big dumb state. That is such an American thing.
Texas, one big dumb state.
One big dumb state. And I mean, look at Wyoming. Wyoming could be 3 states. There's no reason to have all of this is Wyoming. You could have New Wyoming and then Wyoming and then also
California. I mean, it looked like by the time the map makers got to California, they were just like, fuck it.
It's big enough. There we go. Done. He was up all night. I'm never going to finish this fucking map. There it is. California right there. Done. Whole thing. Ooh, Jesus. Get this off to Rand McNally.
God, there's a name I haven't heard in like 30 years.
The ancient map makers, Rand and McNally.
What would the negative repercussions be of just giving the bottom part of Texas back to Mexico?
No repercussions whatsoever. I mean, they're always like, there's a border crisis. Yeah, well, why don't you give them half your fucking country then? Like, you're not using most of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just to store Trump 2024 flags, most of it. So let them use some available real estate.
Yeah, Texas is like 90% empty. Like, why not just give them a chunk?
Yeah, I mean, we're overly burdened. Also, I feel like what we should do is just make Mexico the 51st or 52nd state.
I'm down.
Okay. Bring them into the U.S. economy and then just fucking, there you go, have fun. We're all part, now we've got a little part of South America. They're covered, right? They've got a little stronger economy. Don't have to worry about a border crisis. More people are going to be able to fit into that space. And also, why not? I mean, it kind of sucks. They have a shitty government, and part of the reason that there's so many cartels is because there's no army that's big enough to take them on. But join the United States, come on in.
I mean, has anybody been in New Orleans lately? I mean, it's last time I went to Mexico, there were like there were appliances, like kitchen appliance, like ovens and shit, like just in the ditch. And then I was walking down the street, some dude sitting in his car jerking off. I'm like, feels like New Orleans to me.
This all seems, that tracks. I mean, I don't know. They were talking about, like making Puerto Rico the 51st state, which I'm also like, let's add some states, man. You know, what we're going to do is just make the country a little bigger and in some different places. Puerto Rico's not attached to us. That's nice. We got a little satellite part of the country out here. We already have Alaska.
Yeah.
That's fucking not attached to us. That's part of Canada. So we've shown that we can colonize places that aren't even attached to the to the United States. Let's just step outside and bring. We know that they want. We know Puerto Rico's like, hey, we're willing. Come on, let us in. Let's do that. Let's the Virgin Islands. Let's add Mexico. Not because we're going to be bigger, just because then all the older white people will shut up, and they'll be like that. Because then the southern border is going to be like at the ocean, and then so. It's going to change things a little bit, and all they can do is complain that Canadians are coming into the country, and they're not staying. That'll be the complaint.
Yeah, you never hear about a border wall being built on the north side, but damn it, I'm sure Canada is up there right now thinking about building a wall because they're like, man, them fucking Americans are crazy.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, fuck, if Trump wins in 2024, everyone's going to move to Quebec, you know? Like, shit. There's going to be 60 million Americans that just migrate immediately. Most of them with journalist credentials. Like, I got to get the fuck out of this country.
Oh, no shit.
It's going to be like that scene from World War Z where they're all just climbing over each other to get up the wall.
That's exactly it. It's going to be, it really is going to be, that's where I'm like, yeah, Canada should build a wall. Also, I mean, on the other end of it, even though I say make Mexico the 51st or 52nd state, depending on where we go, maybe even just give Mexico the tools to build a wall to keep us out. Because at some point, if Trump again is president in 2024, I would say build the biggest wall you guys can, lock us in till we get this shit figured out. Because there's going to be people coming over here trying to take over the available real estate, lock us out until we get it figured out.
You know, I think the only reason we haven't added Puerto Rico as the 51st state or added a 52nd state is because all the flag makers are just to be like, what are we going to do with all these fucking flags now? They're going to have to change.
There'll be new big flag out of business.
Yeah,
there will be new militias that spring up. That's the hopeful thing is there'll always be new militias that spring up, and then they'll adopt the 50-state flag instead of the 13-state flag, and they'll be like, oh, this one, remember when we were a pure nation of only 50 states? And then they'll fly. That's for those guys. They can have those flags and fly them in the back of their truck. And the people will call them 50-staters, and they'll have their own little bit. Because then we'll have 2 extra states. I think it's great. It's going to employ new flag companies have to spring up. Places where they go, we got to add 2 stars on the machine. So we're going to need a bigger space. And they got their own flag making. Look at, we're producing jobs now. We're creators.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like, all right, so this might be a long story, but so we live on the coast of Mississippi, and one of the crowning jewels of Biloxi, Mississippi is Beauvoir, which is the Jefferson Davis home, who was the president of the Confederacy. So we went to on school field trips to here often, and we would often talk to a guy who was the flag expert of Beauvoir, who would be like, and so before Mississippi changed the state flag, which was the Confederate flag, he was like, well, if they try to take our flag away and they won't, then we have all these backup flags that we're going to put up just in case the liberals take our flag away. So I feel like the United States has a few contingency flags hiding somewhere, with some crackpot being like, if the liberals make us adopt Puerto Rico, this is what our flag's going to look like.
We've got a flag contingency just in case.
They have so many flag contingency plans, like it doesn't take a literal act of Congress
I was in Arkansas before the pandemic, and a friend of mine, I was like, hey, I don't know if it's legal, but I would like to buy some weed. The club owner, right? I was like, I'd like to buy some weed while I'm here and get high over the weekend. And he was like, oh, my brother-in-law sells weed. We can go up to his house. And I was like, that's great. I got cash. And he's like, it's kind of out in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's about an hour drive. And I'm like, that's cool.
That's all Arkansas is, out in the middle of
Yeah,
nowhere.
it's all fucking outback, right? So we're going through like a holler basically to get to the house. And I'm already like, this fucking seems like separatist country. And I'm like, these guys are gonna have weed, but they're gonna have fucking guns. And they're all going to be angry and they're not going to trust me. And I'm already feeling like I'm a fish out of water. And we pull up to the house, which oddly also leaning to the right. And I was like, son of a bitch. Okay, here it is. All the signs are pointing to it. Lazy dog sitting on the porch, right? And the guy that comes out to greet us is in like Daisy Duke cutoff shorts all the way up to his hips and a tank top, right? And he's waving at us. And he goes, that's my brother-in-law. Just like be cool and everything, man. When we go in there, just don't like, they kind of have a weird lifestyle. So just be cool and stay behind me. I'll do all the talking. And I'm like, all right, no problem. And then his brother-in-law's husband comes out and waves us into the house. And so I'm like, oh, it's a gay couple in Arkansas. Wow. Oh, we're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. No wonder they live all the way out here. And then in their living room, and I still don't know what to do with this. The window facing the road had like instead of a curtain, they had a giant rainbow Confederate flag.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't even I can't figure out where they're at. Like, I mean, where does that land? Like, what do I do with this?
Lands in Joe Exotic territory.
Right.
What I'm thinking is, who made that flag? Because that can't be mass produced. Like that
I don't think I've ever seen it online.
They're probably the only people on the planet flying that flag.
No, that's a contingency flag, brother. If the Republicans try to take our gay pride flag away, we got one for them.
That's the pride flag contingency. Oh man. Yeah, I had no idea what to make of it. And I was like, I do want to get high with you guys, but I don't want to ask a lot of probing questions because I kind of don't want to figure it out. It's going to blow the mystique, I don't want to know if you're Trump guys or not. I just want to get high with you. This seems fun. Gay dudes in cutoff shorts and they're Confederates. All right.
Maybe I just have an eye for them, but I tend to notice Confederate flags when I go a lot of places. And I remember going to Iowa one summer to visit family, and there are just Confederate flags littered all over Iowa.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're not even part of the
South. Had no dog in the fight of the Civil War.
I mean, Washington State. I mean, the south end of Washington State. When you get out of Seattle on your way to Portland, that whole area is just fucking Trump flags, Confederate flags, Nazi flags, swastikas, and I'm like, the Confederate ones always blow me away because I'm like, we're in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. That wasn't even a viable territory during the Civil War. Like, we were still pretty much down here, and the middle of the country was just starting to jump in. But like, Washington State I'm like, why are you in the Confederacy up here? Like,
yeah,
I don't even understand what's going to rise again up here.
People were dying on their way there at that point.
Yeah, it's not going to rise this high when it rises. It's the South will rise again. You're not in it.
No, and it seems to me, the only people that people died on their way to Washington State, like trying to get there, to get away from the South. They died in wagons and then ate each other.
Yeah,
trying to get over the fucking pass. If anything, that should be the flag. There should be a flag for that. That should be a contingent flag of just a horse-drawn carriage, but it's sort of beat up a little bit, like the stagecoach awning's kind of coming apart, and there's just one arm hanging out, and then you get closer to just notice there's stains all over it. And maybe, are those entrails coming out of the back? It's just the survival wagon. Like that should be Idaho's or Montana's state flag. Like if you've made it this far, a lot of people sacrificed and there's nothing here. So enjoy, sail. It's a really long slogan. I don't think they should adopt it. But
yeah, there's this guy that he's really close to where me and Jacob live, and we live right by I-10 that runs through the South, along the coast, Mississippi. And there's this guy that every weekend he sets up like this little
I know
shop.
this guy.
And it's always like Trump flags, Confederate flags. He's got this huge fuck Joe Biden flag just flying right in the front. And I'm like, these like little kids can go like, I like the word fuck. I use it all the time, but I don't say it in front of little kids.
They tend to not pick up on it as much as you think.
Also, what is it with these guys who want to fuck Biden?
I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I don't think he's that cute.
Why do they want to fuck Biden so bad? Like, nobody's really stopped to ask him, like, you guys really have a hard-on for this guy. Like, you really want to fuck Biden.
I guess because he would, like, make fun noises while you do it.
Hey, where am I?
I'm Joe Biden's husband.
Hey, man, going a little fast there, buddy.
Hey, but slow down there, pops.
But the weird thing about it is that guy that sets up that little shop. He's got this huge like sandwich board on the side of it that says "Need money for rent," and I'm like, I just want to pull over and be like, you know what you need to do? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go get a job. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, go get a job, buddy.
Maybe your future is open a small business. It seems that you guys are always talking about us doing that. Why don't you open a small business, sell some ice cream?
Dude, is America the only country where we're just completely unashamed of our history to like post Confederate flags up everywhere? Because I feel like I've never been to Germany, but I don't think that they still have Nazi flags up, just being like, "You don't understand. Fascists will rise again."
It's a federal crime in Germany if you flash a swastika, or
as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they'll literally just. That's why you don't see Nazis out and like neo-Nazis in Germany, because they just get arrested. Because Germany was like, you guys can do whatever you want, you can say whatever you want, but if you fucking flash a swastika or show a copy of Mein Kampf, we will throw you in jail. That is our one no-hit rule. That's it. And I'm like, that's a fucking good rule. Like, I'm all for freedom of speech, man. I mean, I'm an advocate for being able to say whatever you want. Just be ready for the consequences, right? Like, that's all that's about. Just be prepared for consequences.
Yeah.
Consequences are part of speech. That's the freedom part, is that you're free to say it. And then you also have to be free to accept the consequences. And I think that, like, we should just have that caveat here. Like, it's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt anybody if you go, hey, you can't have a fucking swastika flag. Sorry, that's where we draw the line. Like, we're not giving comfort to the enemy. Sorry. Like, you don't get to have a copy of Mein Kampf. I know you guys don't want to ban books unless they have to do with trans kids or, exploring your gender fluidity. We can't have that. We can't have anything about being an immigrant in the libraries. But, okay, then how about we also ban the Bible and Mein Kampf? And then you have to either find a way to get it, like in that Rush album. Like, it has to be an antique. It's you have to fucking search for it, and then you got to figure out how to read it. But like, I feel like that we should be okay with that. We should be okay setting a bar and being like, right to free protest, right to we're all for that. But unless you are a dangerous faction of neo-fascists, and then that's where we draw the line. Like, that just shouldn't. That's not impeding anything that's progressive in society. Like, stopping that isn't like a thing that's going to go, well, that's going to halt, our the species progression emotionally and psychologically if we stop this awful hatred, like, tied to a genocide. What if we just made that illegal and then progressed from there?
See, when I was a kid, I always thought something like the internet would bring us all together, but it hasn't. It's just made things worse.
Yeah. Well, it's made it easier for, I mean, when I was growing up, and it happened occasionally, like if you showed up at a bar with a fucking swastika armband, like everyone in that bar would beat the fucking shit out of you.
Yeah.
And then you would live in shame. You'd go back home. Everybody would know who you were. And they'd be like, that person's a fucking maniac. Don't talk to them. Don't hire them. That was this. I mean, growing up in the 70s and 80s, especially when there were still World War II vets walking around.
Yeah.
Like that shit just wasn't tolerated. And the internet normalized it because the internet said, hey, there's more than just this one weirdo who has this opinion, especially progressives or liberals allow that speech to happen because they go, well, I don't want to be seen as an oppressor because if I say no, that you can't say Nazi shit, then feel like I might be holding you back. And I don't want to be seen as the people that I fight against all the time censoring speech. And that's not how we should approach it. Yeah. I feel like, it doesn't get shut down, and years of that being okay has normalized it to the point where now they get to feel obligated to be a part of the conversation, or we feel obligated to let them be a part of the conversation because we go, well, we're not listening to all the voices. And if we stifle them, if we stifle the Nazis, first they came for the Nazis and I didn't say anything. Like, I feel like we just have to put our foot down publicly about, hey, not fucking okay. Like, to me, hate speech is the same as openly talking about wanting to fuck kids. Like, if someone's in a bar and they're like, I'm going to fuck the shit out of those kids, I'm jumping in that conversation. I'm ending it, right? I'm putting my life on the line. That seems like it shouldn't go any further and shouldn't be allowed. So I don't see why we can't just equivocate Nazi hate speech with child fucking. And then maybe even Republicans will want to do something about it,
And it's weird you say that, we used to, because I was a child of the 70s, 80s. 80s
I was going to start that sentence with, I was a child fucker. Now listen.
But no, like my grandfather was a World War II veteran, and if he'd have seen anybody walking around with a Nazi, patch on their arm, he would have smoked them right in the face. But then you got the boomer generation who were the kids of those World War II veterans. And they're the ones going around mostly talking all the hate and shit. And it's like, what happened? What happened?
They had they had everything. That's the thing, is they had everything. They had all the freedom. They had money, the drugs, the access to everything. They were born in the most privileged time in our nation ever. And when you give people all that, I mean, have you ever seen somebody, you ever watch those stories about people who win the lottery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just go fucking insane.
Yep.
After a couple of years, they spend all the money and they go crazy, right? And it's because things progress too fast when you have all that access. You stop thinking rationally because you don't have to anymore. Your threats are different. And I think boomers especially grew up so coddled and safe and without the necessary means to actually produce anything. I mean, that whole generation is about investing. That whole generation is about taking the money that their parents gave them, investing in smaller businesses, grow those businesses, but they never built anything. They just had stuff given to them. And so I think it's easier for them to take all this shit for granted because they've never been affected by anything. Like their kids, Generation X,
that's me.
We were affected by them so much. I mean, it's visible. We've single-handedly reinvented the therapy industry, like an entire generation that propped up psychology as a booming business because we had parents that weren't available emotionally. We raised ourselves. All these boomers were like, we're not going to be like our parents, right? We're not going to be like our parents. We're not going to be conservatives like our parents. And then they put their fucking keys in a fishbowl and they do a bunch of coke and they fuck each other. And then they get hooked on drugs and they got to sell all the beds and their kids are just fucking making their own dinners and watching reruns of shows that influence those people to be the people they are. And we're like, holy fuck, I'm getting a look at the past and I don't want anything to do with it. And we grew up just going like, I'm not fucking having kids. And if I do, I'm not fucking raising them like my parents did. I'm going to let them kind of get their own shit together. I'm not going to tell them they have to be religious. I'm not going to tell them they have to do that. Like Gen X kids are the Gen Z kids, right? There's some millennials, but it's a lot of Gen Z kids. Those are the kids that are like, our kids, Generation X, are like, this place is fucked. You didn't tell us shit. You didn't fix anything. Why were you guys so hands off? We have race problems. We've got the climate's heating up. And we're like, man, I just got this jar of pickles open, man. It's taken me 25 years, dude. Nobody's helped. I didn't know how to ask for help. And I think that the farther we get away from boomers, we see that, and also we don't have the money that they do or the resources that they did. I mean, how many people you know that Generation X people that like their parents left them anything substantially close to what their own parents left them, which was probably pretty substantial.
Yeah.
You know,
my parents are still alive, but I know that, you know, one day when they go, there's not pretty much nothing that's going to pass to me. So I'm just like, I'm on my own here. No help is coming.
We're not so different than Jason because he's Gen X and I'm Gen Z. And obviously there's like a 20-year age gap in between us, but we have a lot in common because it's the same thing for me. Like I've got not like my parents didn't even help me buy my first car, dude. Like not even close to anything.
I feel like that's the funny thing is I feel like the millennials for the most part are like the me generation kids that were in between the boomers and Gen X. You know, like my brother's generation that they were just disaffected. They got high all the time. Punk rock happened while they were adults. And then they just kind of grew up and disappeared. And I feel like I relate way better to Gen Z people than I do like millennial. I mean, people in their 30s and 40s, most of my friends are in their 20s or 30s.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And it's true because we do have a lot more. I feel like we're all in that same boat where Gen Z also raised itself. I mean, I learned about porn because my dad forgot to take his shit out of the VCR. You know, I didn't have to flip around cable. I fucking learned how to deck tapes and make copies of stuff early on. I was like, I'm not waiting for anybody else to accidentally introduce this to me. I got it. I learned how to cook on my own. I learned how to read and write on my own. I guess I can learn how this works, you know.
Dude, I very similar. Like I was sleeping over with a friend one night and I was just like, dude, what would happen if we just went and got the family laptop, put it in incognito mode, and Googled porn? Like, we can just do that, dude. There's nothing stopping us. And he's like, no, dude, don't do it. We're going to get in trouble. And I was like, nah, dude, we're going to look at titties all night. And we look at titties all night. Like, that's how Gen Z is discovering itself again. Millennials were in that weird gap between the VCR and the internet being good where they didn't experience it.
Exactly. And they also they didn't have to, I feel like we're both forgotten generations, you know, like we're just forgotten. You raised yourself on the internet, you know, you were brought up in a system that was like, you've got it, you know, I mean, the screen in front of you. Like, it's funny because I went to this music festival this summer, Cruel World in Los Angeles. Or at Rose Bowl Stadium, right? And the festival was Gen X bands. It was my fucking generation, right? It was like Billy Idol, Squeeze, ABC. Let's see, who else did we? I mean, we had like tons of punk bands. Susie Sue too, Gary Newman. And it's all people my age. It's all people in their late 40s, early 50s. This was on the radio when they're growing up. So it's all people my age, disaffected Gen Xers. Everyone's in black. It's a hot summer day in fucking Pasadena, right? We're all tired. I saw people give up on the way to the stadium because it was too far and just put their chairs out in the parking lot and go like, this is good enough, man. Like, just watching Gen Xers give up before they even got to the thing they paid for because they're like, it's too much work. Ugh. Like, and then we got into the show and all of the staff all of the like the outdoor security, everything, all Gen Z. Anyone's 27 and under, right? And it is it's the funniest, most like nobody gives a shit. Like the older people are just like, this line for the beer is so long. Well, I'm just gonna fucking wait. And they just wait for like an hour, and then you get up to the person getting the beer, and it is someone who's 25 years old, and they also don't give a shit. And they're like, what do you want? Oh, okay, Pabst, that's original. Whatever. And then so it's just whatever's all day. And then Iggy Pop gets on stage, and who looks like a desiccated bandage that's been left on the dashboard of a car in the summertime now. And there's a lightning storm coming. And I can see it coming over the Pasadena Hills, right? The rolling hills. I'm like, that's a lightning storm. And it's summer, right? So, and it keeps getting a little closer. And eventually the sound cuts out, and the screens, the big mega screens, go red. And an announcement comes over the whole thing. There's 50,000 people, 60,000 people on at this arena. And it's just a dude going like, hey, it's like there's like a lightning storm coming. So like concert's over. So we got to go. So everybody get to your cars, man. Like can't be out here. Fire department says we got to shut it down. So, but it's coming. So run. And literally told a crowd of 50,000 people we have no idea where the exits are at. The cars are easily 2 miles away. And I watch, there's an big emergency gate by the side stage that should be open for people to be able to get out. And all I see is hundreds of Gen Z staff just fucking leaving, including the security, because they're like, well, I'm not staying. It's fucking lightning storm, dude. Like, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, man. And like 30 of us had to pull open the gate to get to the exit because there was no one left. And literally there's just young people just going home because they're like, I ain't risking my life for anybody. Like, I have barely enough time left on this planet. You guys have almost set it on fire a couple times. I am getting the fuck out of here. I'm going to go have a drink somewhere safe. You old people take care of yourselves. This is your problem. And then just Gen Xers wandering around for almost an hour and a half trying to find their cars because there was no lights on. There was no security. And I'm like, Jesus. This is the most Gen X thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it couldn't have been more Gen X. We were just like forming groups, like, all right, let's all find our cars. What are you driving? What are you driving? Somebody goes, well, didn't you put a pin in your map? And we all turned on that person. We're like, what the fuck is a pin? What are you, millennial piece of shit? Did I pin my fucking location? Like, we were just fucking ready to murder. And I was like, it's so funny to see like Gen Z people and Gen X people in those situations, which one of them is just like, we already know where the exits are and we're not fucking helping you guys. Like, you had plenty of time to do this yourselves. Like, you didn't even ask. You didn't even ask where the exits were coming in. You just assumed someone was going to help you because that's your whole fucking life, isn't it? And and also fuck you for not fixing race relations or the economy and making it impossible for us to buy a house. So you're on your fucking own. I hope the lightning takes you all.
Oh, they're 100% right. I mean, they're not wrong. Like, they're
not wrong. I totally agree with them.
But so we need to get into some open micer questions while we can. We are running away with the time here this episode because we're just having such fun chatting.
So sorry. I hope it's fun. I hope it's fun.
Oh yeah, you're good, man. Let's get to some open micers questions though. The biggest one we need to cover is your very first open mic. When was it? Where was it? And how did it go?
It didn't go great, but I was also 13.
Nice.
And I took the bus from Auburn, Washington to Seattle, which is about 35 miles. And my mom did not care. I told her I was going downtown, and she was like, well, just be safe. And then I got on a bus and went downtown, which, by the way, Seattle in the fucking 70s and 80s was like, it was still a fisherman's town full of like murderers and drugs, and most of downtown was owned by the mob, so it was all flop houses, X-rated theaters, and they had like 80 comedy clubs because it was the boom. So I went down to the underground comedy club, Swanee's Underground, which was the big club in town. And because I loved stand-up. I was raised around, I wasn't raised around it, but I mean, I didn't listen to music until I was in my late teens. I mean, I only really listened to comedy, and I gravitated towards it. I just didn't know how to make it work because I had a child's brain. So everything I wrote was definitely, kids aren't funny. I mean, they're just not. They're funny unintentionally, but they're not fucking funny. They're not writing zingers, because they don't know shit. Their brain hasn't formed yet. It's so soft.
You hear that, Jacob? You were not funny that night we started our comedy careers together.
I was a little older. I started at 17, not 13. So I had a little bit more going on up there.
Yeah, you had a little. You at least probably had heartbreak at least once or twice.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I want to ask you this because this has been my experience, because I started so young and I didn't have anything to talk about on stage. Like, it forced me to be a joke writer comic. Like, I can't get on stage and tell a story. Was it the same way with you?
Yeah, I wanted to have material. I thought I had jokes and I wrote stuff, but they were so bad. Like, they were kids' jokes that a kid would write, And they didn't have like any setup or punchline. All I think I had was like a premise.
What's the deal with these Legos?
Yeah, well, I'd say shit like, my grandparents' car it says 1,000 tons on it, and boy, they're fat, huh? And like shit like that, like just a kid joke. And but I sat in the back. The guy that ran the mic at the time turned out later to be a friend of mine who was also, he was 19 or 20 working the door and doing mics and stuff. And so he said I could sit in the back with the comics. I couldn't be near the bar. I could sit where the comics are. So I got to sit with all the older comics and watch stand up in a club, which was far more important to me than being on stage at the time. Just being in that environment and knowing that I had access to it and I could do it. I could at least be in the room when it's happening. And, that night, I remember I met people that I know now. They knew me. They didn't know, they'll never remember me because I was 13. I'm sure they saw a million kids come through there, but like, I knew them. I remembered their names. I'd see them on TV locally, or I'd see them at different clubs. Like, those are all people that I ended up knowing, and a lot of them were locally famous or, close to famous. And I got jazzed by it, but I also sucked at it. I sucked so much that first mic, I was like, I never want to do that again. That was terrible. I had such bad stage fright. And I tried it a few more times. Because that's what comedy is, very much like a drug, where if you're like, well, I didn't get high, so I'm going to try it again. And then next thing you know, you're fucking hooked on it. You're like, oh, I'm selling my TV because I need to go to Portland so I can do this mic, man. Oh my God. And I quit because I got the stage fright was so bad. I didn't know what it was. And I just associated it with stand up, that every time I got on stage, my stomach got weird and I felt scared, and I didn't realize I was having an anxiety attack because I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, that's comedy makes you do that. So instead I'll play music for a while. And I started learning an instrument so that I could I learned an instrument so I could get on stage with other people and not be the only person on stage. And I thought that might help me get used to it. So I did that for a lot longer than I should have.
Hey, we're in the same boat.
Played a lot of music, and it helped. It helped me. It helped me get my land legs. Mm-hmm. And the longer that I did it, the more comfortable I got on stage, and the more I started standing further out in front of the stage, and then I started talking on the mic more in between songs, and then the shows went from 45 minutes of music to 30 minutes of music and 15 minutes of me talking to 25 minutes of me talking. And eventually I was like, I think I'm going to stop ruining everybody's good time. Now I'm going to get out of here and not carry anything heavy. And I'm just going to go do stand up. And then I went back to the club that I started at. I went back to Swanee's and did the mic. I watched the mic because I wanted to see what it was like again to be in there. And I immediately was like, I got to get on stage. I got to do this. And told my wife, like, I'm just quitting music and I'm getting into stand up. And she was like, oh no. What are my friends going to do? They like going to your shows. I'm like, well, I'm going to be an entertainer. And she's,
It's not
okay.
the same.
It's not the same at all. And not prepared for the years of gut-wrenching, soul-crushing, absolute personal destruction that happens when you start stand-up comedy, where if you do it right, you have to be completely broken down by failure every night, starting with failure. Start at failure, and then start to really, the more you do it, the more you start to understand the depths of failure and just how much failure hurts. And then you're like, I got to get a little less failure. And then you start fighting that uphill battle where, I mean, I wasn't prepared for the years of just like, fuck, when is this? And when am I going to get laughs all the time and not feel terrified? But I was so jazzed to do it anyways, because I felt like now I'm an adult. I can write things and I have a better handle on my feelings. And that first mic, though, that I did when I came back was the worst. It was worse than the time I did it when I was 13. It was way worse because I was all into Bill Hicks and shit. And I thought I was going to be fucking Bill Hicks when I got on stage. And, an open micer's first time, adult open micer who, as much as they love comedy, has not been in that, has not been in it, hasn't done it. And, it changes you. Doing stand-up every night changes you on a molecular level. It changes the way that you talk and the way that you think. You start being more analytical about stuff, even if you don't know it. You're looking at things and you're gleaning information from it differently. And it also breaks you down. It really does tear you to shreds and then slowly builds you back up and calcifies everything so that you're a lot harder on the outside to criticism, to noises, to, shock or anxiety. And so that whole process changes you because you've seen, I still do open mics, but you can tell when it's someone new. Mm-hmm. Even if they didn't announce it, you can tell. Yeah. There's a fear in their eyes that you recognize it and you're like, oh, your pupils are really small right now. You are terrified. You don't know where to look. They don't know where to look. They don't know, immediately don't know what to do with the mic or the mic stand. And
they're very bad at comedy.
They're very bad at comedy. Like nobody has ever come out of the gate and been like, first time, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. Here we go. And then they just launch into something
We've
beautiful.
Seen a few open micers here where we're at, where they just think they're the absolute shit before they even do their first show. Like, I'm going to go up here and kill it. They go up there and they just bomb for don't even see the light. They go right through the light and do 15 minutes of no laughs, get off stage and be like, I killed it. No, you didn't.
It's that feeling like remember making jumps when you were a kid for your bike and get a really rickety piece of plywood that you found and some cinder blocks, the safest combination in being a young adult. You put those two things together and you take your bike up and you eat shit a couple times and it hurts real bad. But then one time the jump works and you don't spill and you're like, I'm fucking Tony Hawk. Nobody saw it. Nobody appreciated it. No one cares. You did a base level thing. You survived and you feel like a conqueror. But, the funny thing is, I wish that people like that would record their sets and then 10 years later, you sit down and listen to it and see how fucking much better you are and what a different person you are from that time. Because those guys who do stick with it, when they do fail, it's crushing. The first time they feel it, the first time they actually have something to lose because they've written jokes, like they've written them and they've practiced them and they believe in them, and those all fail, it's like watching your kids get shot execution style, man. It's just fucking like, oh, nobody likes this. I love it, that's satisfying. I mean, as open micers, who doesn't sometimes feel good watching someone's ego get destroyed in front of you?
I'm not gonna lie, it feels good.
It feels good because we've been that guy, right? Like we've been that. People have been in the room when it happened to me. Like I know people saw it, and I'm sure that it transformed them in some way positively because they were like, "Whoo! That feels good. That guy had it coming," and also I relate to that feeling, so I know that it's not just me. It's good to see someone else fail. But also the hope that when someone does have that ego crushing moment, that if they stick with it, that's where it starts. That's where the fractures and the fissures all start. Mm-hmm. And then they start like getting a little bit more humble, hopefully. And then they start writing differently, or they quit and they go home and they're like, this belt's going to take care of my joke problem. And then, but it's very rare. It's very rare that comedians will commit to anything that long term, but most of them will bail on that premise pretty quick. That's why a lot of them are still living.
Well,
even the bad open micers are like, I can't kill myself. I can't even finish a joke. God damn it.
Well, we're getting close to the end of the episode, and there's something we haven't done it in a while, Jacob. There's a question, a burning question that Jacob likes to ask. Yes. Our guests, and I want to get back to it tonight because I feel like that Derek here might actually have a good story for us.
Yeah, man, there's a burning question that's kind of the pinnacle of our interviewing success that we like to ask our guests here. It's been asked to the likes of Sam Talent. It's been asked to the likes of Steve Byrne.
Mo
I mean, we've
Alexander.
asked some legends in comedy this question. Derek Sheen, when was the last time as a grown man that you shit your pants?
Oh, fuck. Great question. I have prided myself on getting to 53 years and never shitting my pants. Never shitting my pants. Have never shit my pants. And then recently...
all right, it's turning around. Let's get it.
Recently, this is probably only like a month ago. In fact, I am very private. My wife does not understand. She was raised on a houseboat. So they don't even have doors, right? She'll drop a deuce with the door wide open, and I'm just like, don't pee, don't do anything.
My ex-wife was like that. She used to shit with the door open. I'm like, I don't want to see this. What are you doing?
I shit with the door closed, and I put a chair underneath it because somehow she's like, do you think I'm gonna come in? And I'm like, I'm not taking any chances. I have wiped so hard that I've damaged my skin. It's just full of fissures and scars. My doctor is like, you have a real fear. And I'm like, that's all we need to say. And I so pride myself on not shitting my pants. And then about 3 weeks ago, I was getting over a cold and pretty much most of my diet was NyQuil. I was just taking, when I get sick, I do NyQuil all day. I don't do anything. I don't go out. I stay home and I just stay in a stupor for like 3 days of just NyQuil sleep. Sleep it out, sweat it out, try to stay hydrated. Don't take in a lot of nutrition. And after about 3 days, I ordered some soup from this awesome Vietnamese place, a hot soup. And it got to the house and I'm in bed and I'm eating the soup. And I put the bowl down and I got a fart. And that's how it always starts. And I did that thing where I really ripped one, like really ripped a bold one. I haven't really eaten anything in 3 days. I just had nothing but NyQuil. And it won't stop. It's just fucking hitting. And then I'm like, oh, it was kind of oh, that was really painful. That was kind of painful. And then I'm like, God, smell is not going away, man. That is real bad. And I got a little bit of moisture. That's all right. A little bit of moisture. That happens occasionally. A little wet one, a little moisture build up. It's hot under those sheets. And I'm trying to watch a movie and eat. And I'm like, that fucking smell isn't going away, man. This is killing me. Yeah, I shit all over the bed. I shit my pants. I shit my legs. I shit all over the bed. I shit through the mattress protector that's supposed to not let you get shit anywhere. There was shit under the mattress protector. I shit so hard the mattress protector killed itself. Like, and then I had to call my wife because I was like, I can't get all this off the bed myself because it's a giant, like it's a king size bed and everything's fitted. And I'm like, you got to unzip the mattress protector. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get all, and I got tiny arms and shit. So I already need help. So I had to call my wife and I was like, hey, I tried to cover it up with and I go, hey, I just need your help. I got to wash the sheets, had a little pee accident. She was like, oh, okay. Because she has those all the time. She has little pee accidents in person, right? And she comes down. She's like, ooh, wow. Oh, that smells, that's something. And I'm like, yeah, I just a little, and she's like, I know you had gas because of the NyQuil. I get that all the time. I'm like, yeah, I had gas because of the NyQuil. And then she goes, what are we doing? I'm like, I just need to unzip the mattress protector. Why? I just want to unzip it. I just want to wash everything because, I had a little bit of pee. And she's like, well, the mattress protector will protect it. I'm like, just help me with the fucking mattress protector. Why? Why do you need that? Why does it smell so bad in here? And she pulled back the blanket and was like, oh, no, you shit everywhere. And of course, I'm expecting her to chastise me. And she's like, oh, this feels so good. Like, it feels good. Like, finally, you've shit the bed. Like, you finally did it. Like, we've crossed a Rubicon. Like, that's a big deal, buddy. You shit the bed finally. Like, she's done it. She's pooped a little bit here and there. I shit everywhere. She was like so proud of me. Like, now we don't have to worry about it anymore. Now you shit the bed. Now you can shit with the door open. I've seen this disaster, You've ruined furniture. Like, you actually ruined furniture. Like, you don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to live in the shadows. So that was the first and only time I consider shitting my pants, because a bed is way bigger than pants, by the way. A lot more square footage.
Oh, I've shit the bed before, buddy. I know.
Oh, I mean, I've shit the bed metaphorically.
Yeah, at an open mic.
I have shit the bed a lot. Probably gonna do it tonight. But
well, I'm still in my 40s. I'm about to be 47 this next year. So, and I still haven't shit anything yet.
It's coming.
Yeah, coming. I mean, the shit train's coming for you, my friend. I thought
it happens to everybody.
See, I thought it was going to happen when I had COVID last month. I was like, this might be the time where I shit myself, and I didn't.
I was a bell-to-bell drinker. I drank from morning until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I drank all the time. I was always drunk. Never shit my pants, not once. Chronic alcoholic, never peed, never shit my pants. I'm like, look, this is one thing I'm not doing. I have NyQuil for a couple days and a little bit of pho, and I shit like an elephant in a bed that I share with a person that I love. Like, I shit, it was a horrific amount of and penetrating shit. Like, it went through everything. Like, it not only burned through the hulls of the ship and the Nostromo and Alien, but like it not only burned through the mattress protector, but like I feel like it even like kind of dulled the paint in the room a little bit. Like, I just feel like the room's it hits different now when I go down there. Like, 'cause it's like if you go to a restaurant where you witnessed a murder on accident, like it just have that feeling where you're like, I love to eat here, man, but like it just holds different memories now. Like, it's not the same.
Things happened in here. Some bad things.
Look, when we die, we shit ourselves, and that makes me right in the end for everybody. Everyone shits their pants, guys. We do got to start walking towards the door, though, boys. My computer's fixing to die.
Was that the light?
Oh yeah, you got the light. You got the 5 minutes left. All that's left to do is plugs, Derek Sheen. What do you want people to follow? Where can they see you? What's happening?
Check out Derek Sheen Rules with a Z, REULZ.com, which is where I have all my tour dates, clips, all kinds of stuff. And then and Instagram, I'm super busy on. I try to stay up to date on that, but I'm coming to the Midwest soon, and I'm hoping to I'm doing Louisville in April, so I'm kind of hoping to start booking some stuff throughout the Southeast. Again, it's been a long time, so
Oh, yeah,
I'm hoping
that's
around
that
April
area,
I'm going to
man.
come out and do a couple weeks and try to hit everybody, see you guys, and
Awesome.
and do an open mic. Let's do an open mic when I'm out there.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Hit us up.
Yeah, I'll
We'll
have
be
your.
sure
to do
I've
that.
got your Linktree, I got your website, and your Instagram, and the show notes. So if anybody out there wants to go follow Mr. Derek Sheen, it's all here in the show notes. You can just
Come and get me.
click them, and they'll take you right to them. And Jacob, so this is going to be out on Wednesday for the public, and in 2 days, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, in 2 days, if you're in Pensacola, you want to tell them where we're at, Jacob?
Oh, brother, in 2 days in Pensacola, Florida, me and the man Jason Robbins are invading. We are, once again, I will be opening for the great Mo Alexander at Vital Music Hall for the third goddamn time. And I'm bringing along my buddy Jason Robbins to do a hot guest set, a full 5 minutes of comedy in front of a hot, sold out theater crowd. Although tickets are still available, guys. If you need those.
I am so stoked to get to do Mo. We were just talking about him.
Oh no, I think Jacob accidentally undid himself.
He did a victory lap and tapped himself out.
Let me fix this real quick before we get out of here. Let me turn off my webcam. There we go. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let us get out the door. Derek, thank you for hanging out with us on the show tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
Thank you guys so much. Super fun. I had a blast talking to you dudes, and I can't wait to see you next year.
Awesome. Well, hang on while we walk out the door, and so we can have a little chit chat after the show. But if you want to email us, you can email us at OpenMicersPodcast at gmail.com, openmicers.com. We just dropped a new blog post the other day. Go check that out. Also, Linktree/OpenMicersPodcast is going to take you everywhere you need to go. And we love all of you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Also, we dropped our Thanksgiving special yesterday for Patreons only. Go check that out. So we love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
And for everybody that's going to watch this on YouTube, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys